That was Shay's first question. He didn't get one now.
In the first meeting, Bill, the last 14 and a half seconds were probably the most talked about that I can remember, at least in the field house. Was that a turnaround? I realize Nick didn't make shots last game, but has a lot of other things improved on Nick since that first meeting?
I don't know about, a lot of things, or you're a better player. I mean, I don't, based on that, I don't know. That was a, you said 14 seconds, I counted 21.
Okay.
That seemed like 2 hours, but I actually think that, probably learned without having to be taught a real hard lesson, which is good, because they didn't make the shots on the other end, but that was handled poorly by everybody, including us, the coaches and everything. So if we're in that situation again, we certainly have to be better. I think he'll be better in that situation if he's in that again.
In the first meeting, you turned him over, I think, 21 times. What did you do to be so effective at that with steals?
I thought we defended pretty well the first time. They're a hard team to guard because they can put 4 shooters around a rim runner, and those are the hardest teams to guard. When you can put shooters around ball screen options, but I thought our activity was pretty good, and they didn't shoot it great, but they also helped us some the first game. They had some turnovers that were unforced as well, which happens, which probably inflated our defensive numbers a little bit. But I thought our activity was pretty good, and our ball screen coverage was pretty good.
Coach, what's the tone of your messaging been with your team since the BYU game?
Well, we didn't practice yesterday, so yesterday had to be our off day. We didn't play well against BYU, but after I watched the tape, we actually weren't as bad as what I thought we were. There's certain things that need to happen, when you play good teams. I mean, you need to, make the majority of your free throws. You need to handle some things differently. One of the big negatives is that, going into the last 4 minutes of the game, we had been outscored 33 points from beyond the arc. Yeah, that's a lot of points to make up in twos when you get outscored 33 from beyond the arc. And in games in which we lost in league, that's the constant theme, minus 18, 18, 21. In this particular game, I think it ended up being 30, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular game. That's a lot of twos you got to make up. So obviously, we're not going to make up those twos offensively. We need to do a better job of taking them away from them defensively. We can make up a few, but we can't make up that number. But it wasn't as bad. Our ball screen defense wasn't bad. The last 3 they made, we guarded perfectly. It was the one before that we didn't switch up. It was a problem. We did some things that it didn't add up. It would be like losing a football game, by a field goal, then you drop 2 touchdown passes. It wasn't that far off, but it wasn't good enough, obviously. But if we'd have done a few things better that you take for granted sometimes, the outcome could have been different, but it wasn't. And then we didn't do enough stuff to make them play poorly, because we didn't do the simple things that we normally do.
What's the identity of your basketball team?
That's probably a question that I wish I'd had a little bit more preparation to answer, maybe, than on the spot. I would say that we're a pretty tough team. We're pretty tough-minded for the most part. I would say that we're starting to understand our roles better, but as an identity, I would think that I don't know if we're an execution team or are we a aggressive loose ball team. I don't know that our athleticism makes up for mistakes. I don't know if we can make plays that you can't coach athletically a lot of times. But I think consistently. But I do think we're fairly decent at all those things, without probably having one thing in particular that I would hang our hat on. I don't know that I would hang our hat on being a team that if you needed 3 defensive stops in a row, that we know that we can get that. I don't know that I'd hang our hat on knowing if there's one possession left and it's our ball side out, that I'm positive we would get the exact shot we would want. I don't know if we're great at those things, but I do think we've shown we can be pretty good at all of them. The thing that I would say, as much as anything, I would hope that we could be a better execution team, because against BYU, the way they guarded us, we really didn't have an answer on how we knew we could score. We were running offense just to run offense, rather than running offense with a real purpose on, this is what we know we can get. In the first half, we knew we could get KJ on the short roll. They took that away. We had a hard time scoring after that. So I would think, I think we're pretty good at just about everything I mentioned, but I don't know that we're great at anything yet, if that makes sense. And which isn't being negative. I think there's a lot of people out there that would probably say the same thing, but we need to be some. I've always thought, if you told me you want to be up 1 or down 1 with 10 seconds left, I'm sorry, you want to be down 1 with the ball or up 1 with 10 seconds left and they have the ball. I thought that would always be the definition determining your identity. I'm not saying there's a right or wrong answer, but in my mind, I always thought that would determine your identity. And right now, I think there's certain days I'd rather be down 1, and certain days I'd rather be up 1. I don't know that I have a real strong opinion on which one we are yet.
Is there a constant, if you could pick one, that would be, because the team's been inconsistent, as most are, but be it basketball, IQ, rebounding, shooting, free throws, what's the one thing this team always needs to have as kind of a staple going forward?
I would say, it may not feel like it to you, but we're a top 10 defense in America. So I would say our first shot defense needs to still be our staple as much as anything else.
Where does motivation come from? I think sometimes it's too much on the head coach. These are young guys, their own voices matter to guys around them. When I hear somebody say, player, we didn't have focus going in, or we lost our focus, and they're not going to be focused for 40 minutes, but isn't there some accountability for the players to take that upon themselves?
Yeah, but Dave, it's sports. So every time that Nolan Ryan took the ball and went to the mound, he was the same motivated pitching against the Orioles as he was, pitching against the Dodgers. It's sports. I think that's something that all teams and all individuals go through. You want to, as an athlete, I would think, be at that magic level where your enthusiasm, your energy, your focus is all at a crossroads where it's not too much, it's not enough, that gives you the best chance to perform at your highest level every time you go out. And the reality of it is, we hope that happens, but, I think sports psychiatrists are employed all across the world all the time, and they're still trying to figure out how to make that happen. They're humans. We're humans. The thing about it is, when you look at certain things, sometimes you're as prepared as you can be to play that particular event, and sometimes you just don't perform as well, or somebody else performs better. That doesn't mean it's a lack of motivation or anything like that. That's sports. What happened the other night against BYU, it would be taking something away from BYU, but I felt like that, I go back and I watch the tape and defensive coverages and how we do it differently, and yeah, we messed up. If we messed up 10 times over a course of a 60 possession game on how we want to guard something, and they made us pay on 7 out of the 10, a lot of times they don't make you pay because they miss the same shots that you guarded poorly. And then in this particular game, it seemed like when we did mess up, they made us pay. So I don't know if that's from, I don't think it's motivation. I don't think it's anything like that. I think it's sports. I think it's discipline. I think it's paying attention to detail. But I certainly don't think it was from lack of motivation in any way.
Baylor's played 5 games since you had them here last. Just, is there anything that stands out that they're doing differently since the last matchup?
Playing more zone. You know, against us the first time, I think the first 3 possessions they played zone, and then after that they went man. They're playing more zone against TCU. Was TCU their last game? I believe it was. You know, they played zone for 40 minutes basically. So I think we'll go down there and see a lot more zone.
I'm just wondering how Kevin's doing, if he's moving along anymore than he has previously been.
Yeah, I think he's doing better. I don't know, you know, when he'll play next, but I think he's doing better. I think he's gaining on it, and hopefully we can get him back out there. So.
Any chance for this game for McCullough?
I would say there is, if he could practice full speed today and tomorrow. He didn't practice full speed today and tomorrow, I'd say no.
With Houston 3 up with 3 to go, and you guys facing 2 real tough road games in K-State, what's the road ahead, and what's the motivation?
Well, the motivation is get the best seed you possibly can in the NCAA tournament. You know, it's we're not putting the motivation on winning the league. You know, what does Houston got to do? Win 1 game? So, and we'd have to win. Yeah. So we're not going to win the league. That's not the motivation to win the league. We're in a position this year, like we have been a few other times since I've been here, where, you know, we're going into it, you know, trying to finish with the best seed possible in the NCAA tournament. So, and also the Big 12 tournament, but the NCAA tournament, you know, obviously has more meaning. So, you know, we're trying to do that, and there's still, you know, a couple of quad 1 and a rival game still left for those opportunities.
Bill, I think obviously Jamari's played a little more because Kevin's been out, but what have you seen in his development over this year, and what have you kind of thought of his last few games overall?
I think Jamari's done well. You know, you guys look at it probably differently than I do. I think you can, based on depending on how he's done in comparison to what you recruited him to do. And he's done exactly what we've recruited him to do. You know, we thought we could maybe redshirt him, and of course that went away. And then to be a somewhat of a rotation guy, contribute, and then put himself in position to be a major contributor moving forward. He's certainly done all those things. I think he's done pretty well.
Bill, you mentioned Kevin, but Nick had to exit the game against BYU for a short period of time. Is there anything lingering with him, or is he full go?
I would think that he's sore, based on what I've been told, but he's going to practice today. He's a tough kid. He'll be full go.
Anything else? Oh, all right. Thanks, Coach. Thanks, Coach.